So we're gonna kick over to our work pipe rental, and we're gonna pick a game. And Ward actually picked our game this week, so let's see what it is. Go ahead, Russ.
Let's head to the video store, grab a game for the weekend. We have the box art and description to guide us when we're choosing what game to rent. So grab your rental card because this is the Warp Pipe Rental.
What game you rent for the weekend?
So this week we went to the N64 and rented Armorines
I need
Project
to know. I
Swarm.
need to know why, Mort. I need to know why.
I need to know what you thought of the game, but I'm guessing by that question, yeah, there's so much about this game that I want to say because of a lot of reasons, but I don't know if I should start this one off or if you guys should start this one off because there's a very thoughtful reason I picked
Fair
this.
enough, fair enough. Let's discuss quickly the box art here. Armorines. It's almost in this grayscale, and you just see the bold letters of the word Armorines, and then some like bugs in the background that are red as well. And it was giving me very Starship Troopers vibes. Like I'm like, all right, is this like some type of shooter game? And I had never played this game before. Looking at the box art, looks pretty cool, I would say.
Yeah, I love the
Probably
cover.
one
I
I
love
would grab, right?
Now,
Check
one you
out
would
as
grab?
well.
Yeah.
It's so different than the very colorful Mario games and the 3D platformers. It is Starship Troopers 64 is the game, for sure. And it's Acclaim, and Acclaim is not a stranger to first-person shooters on the N64, giving us arguably one of the very best in I would say Turok 2 is probably the peak from them for first-person shooters. But Armorines borrows a lot of the same assets, and I think even some of the same development team is a part of this one as well. And with that comes, I think, some of the biggest complaints right off the bat. If you have any experience with the N64 and first-person shooters, you can acclimate. If you don't, this is going to be a tough hang.
Yeah, it was definitely a little tough for sure. I tried to hunt this one down at the convention I was at on the weekend, and
Nice,
I could
nice.
not find it anywhere. So I ended up having to emulate it, and
Yeah,
luckily, when I was emulating it, I could adjust the controls
Hmm.
mm,
because I feel like the controls on it are a little wonky. If I
yeah.
was playing it on N64, I feel like I'd be having a bit of a rough go.
Yeah, so it uses the same Turok control scheme, which is that it uses the C sticks to move on the right hand side of the controller, and it uses the thumbstick to aim on the left hand side of the controller. This was like, I think at that time in the 90s, it was the way of kind of getting people to have more precise aim because keyboard and mouse was not an option for N64. So I think, developers are like, oh, if you're used to like, arrow keys on your right hand side of your keyboard or wherever they are, and the mouse on the other side, it's kind of the same idea, right?
Okay.
But like the auto when you go to play a modern Call of Duty or any modern first person shooter, you
Hmm.
don't need auto aim because the controls are so perfect. But then on these classic games, or a classic era of games, because Armorines is probably not a classic. It's something where you need the auto aim, and it's very generous, which I appreciate in this game. But I I played through almost all of Turok 2 on the N64 with the C stick or C buttons rather, and the thumbstick, and so and Armorines came back to me pretty quick when I was playing it to prepare for our time together. And yeah, I think that there's a really good reason why this game is worth talking about. Yeah, here you go. This is some good long play of it. It's fun to me. It's a fun game. It's gory. There's I remember the first time I played the game and I didn't know what to expect. I was running through the snow on this level, and as I'm running out, a bug jumps out of the ground, and it like was the greatest jump scare. I was like, oh my gosh, like it freaked me
Yeah,
out. And like not a lot of N64 games had those kinds of features to them. Yeah, see, like, I think the bugs are well animated.
yeah, they
They're
are.
gross when they blow up. They have cool sound effects to them. It feels like Turok in that sort of respect. It's like Turok meets Starship Troopers. for the
Oh, yeah.
N64. The problem is just about everything about the game is technically woefully um, just under just it the N64 cannot do what the game thinks it's doing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did look up like best control scheme setup to see how to set my controls because I felt like I was like going too fast, like up and down. Like I had to put it into like the negative to like
Yeah,
slow down to be like, geez.
yeah. And then you're also using your left, like for me, I'm normally aiming with my right, and so having to
Mhm.
use your left, you're like, "Oh god, like what am I doing here?" But yeah, there's the I think if Starship Troopers hadn't come out, I wish they could have gotten the license and called it Starship Troopers 64. Maybe they could have gotten even more funding for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, look at
Right,
that.
right.
That bug looks super creepy and everything,
Right.
but this level is already demonstrating maybe a problem that the game has, which is that s the N64 is notorious for bad frame rates and fog, and this
Mhm.
game couples that also, look at this, they look like cockroaches, it's awesome. But the game also combines that with, some of the levels are so dark, it is nearly impossible to see unless you just
Yes, yes.
throttle the brightness on your TV.
Some of the rooms, even just walking out of the outside in that first snow level into those rooms, there was a point where I didn't know I had to go like up the platform or up the
Yeah,
ramp in that second hallway you're in. I walked around for like 20 minutes trying to figure I was like, there's gotta be stairs in here. Why can't I see the stairs?
yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
just so dark in that second room, right?
yep,
So
It's funny though because
lots
when
of
you look at this gameplay, it looks awesome.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I can see how it's really dark there, but like the graphics are great. I mean, it has a great idea. I'm not a first person shooter. Like I don't
okay,
really enjoy first person shooters. I don't even play Metroid Prime. But I mean, just looking at gameplay and graphics and all of that, you would think that it was an amazing game. And then I'm gonna admit, guys, I was on a road trip. I did check the video store and it was out of stock. So I was unable to officially play, but I did watch a ton of gameplay. I watched a lot of reviews. I might have a little bit of insight, but not as much as you guys with firsthand experience. So,
Right, right.
but now I did want to ask Mort something about this game. I saw a review that a lot of people would have wished this to be Turok 3.
mhm.
Is that correct? Did they not have a license for a Turok 3?
No, a Turok
And
3
so
came
they
out on the N64, but
yeah,
actually that's a perfect example. I think Armorines is a perfect there's no audience for it, it'll never happen, but it is a perfect candidate for a remaster because
sure.
you could get the controls to modernize a little bit. If you could get that frame rate up to 60 frames, if you could brighten up some of those dark rooms, all three of those things are things that Night Dive has done for N64 games. You look at Turok
Mhm.
2 on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PS4, etc. I just played through Turok 3 front to back, which takes about 2 or 3 hours on Switch because they made it 60 frames per second. The controls are perfect, and like I think it took so long before because the frame rate is so bad in the N64 version that it's almost unplayable.
Mhm.
But they in this version on the Switch, it's like, oh, you just go here, you do this, you shoot the thing, everything blows up, it's gory, it's fun, all that kind of stuff. Um, so that all being said, I really like how and then also like the Doom 64 remaster that Night Dive did. Doom 64 was also notorious for like if you don't turn up the brightness on your TV screen, it's it's a no-go, etc. And Doom 64 fixes that. I think like if they could do that to Armorines, they could dial in the controls and then bring it to 60 frames per second. I think there's actually a really compelling, fun game underneath all of that. And something that was interesting. I don't think anyone would buy it except for me and like five other people. But at the same time, I picked it because I was like, I think there's like an amazing game underneath
Mhm.
what we got. I think that like they were pushing like at that time I remember IGN reviews were like, it's amazing. It's got like it even hits 30 frames per second at times. It's like, whoa, 30. And that like at times, with these N64 games, you were regularly dealing with games that were getting like, single digit frames when like
Mhm.
too much action happened on screen, which obviously makes the games unplayable. Probably
Mhm.
most notoriously, the last levels on Turok 2 on N64 are a slideshow. Like they are
Mm.
impossible to play.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Hive of the Mantids, I
Huh.
think, is the level's name. It's just like I don't know. I hope that like I can survive this because I don't know.
Hmm.
Partly why I
I
give up.
also
Definitely has
heard
really
that
good bones, for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also heard, like, with the expansion pack, like, didn't help either, right?
Well, in general, the expansion pack, I don't think what developers were going for was optimizing frame rate. For the N64, a lot of times the expansion pack was optimizing resolution, which would then hurt the frame rate. So there weren't
Oh,
there
okay.
weren't a lot of games that used the expansion pack where the expansion pack, in my opinion, is a huge asset. It was cool at the time because you're like, wow, it looks so much sharper. But any kind of gameplay that got too busy on screen would just become even worse from a frame rate perspective. And
Hmm.
so the
Hmm.
expansion pack I mean, I'm probably wrong on a few games where the expansion pack was helpful, but to my knowledge, there's only one game on N64 that hit 60 frames per second consistently, and then you'd have a few that were at 30 pretty regularly, and occasionally would dip. But and the 60 frames per second game is F-Zero X, which is why all the graphics are so simple and blocky, so they could
Mm.
just keep the speed fast on the game.
I
Nice.
would love to see this game as, like, a remaster because it does look the concept is great. I mean, it's the Starship Troopers. I mean, who doesn't love Starship Troopers?
It is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's not too difficult. Like, you go to these areas, bugs come out, you shoot them all, they make cool screechy sounds. I mean, even in my play of this leading up to this, you go into a cave at like the end of the first level, you're on like a tank thing that's blasting everything, and it's so fun to just sit there. It's like unlimited ammo, and you're just seeing bug splatter just go everywhere. And it's so satisfying, because who doesn't want to kill a bunch of cockroaches? And
Right?
yet at the same time, yeah, that I don't know. So I think I chose it because it's like that term hidden gem is thrown around a lot, but this is one that I think is like it on the N64. You have to forgive a lot of its blemishes, but when people talk about off games on the N64, they usually talk about Mischief Makers, Doodle Adventure
Mhm.
Racing,
Yep,
and
yep.
a few others, but they don't usually talk about Armorines. And I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of good first person shooters on N64. Perfect Dark, GoldenEye,
Mm.
Turok Games, Quake 2. I think The World Is Not Enough is a great James Bond game, but Armorines, if they could optimize a few things, I think people would be putting it ahead of some of those games.
Nice.
No,
And more, what
absolutely.
does this game typically run? Like, if you were to find it,
Oh, it's
is
like a
it
$10 game. It's a really
okay.
affordable game. It's not, yeah, it's not going to cost you much.
Is
So
it hard to find? Because I went to a lot of game stores and toy stores, and even the con that I went to out in Chicago, I looked at the vendors that had video games, and I did look for it, and I couldn't find it. Is it difficult to find?
first of all, I'm on eBay right now and I'm seeing copies at 12, $13 free delivery, uh,
Oh, they really wanna get rid of it.
up to 20. Um, and then I'm seeing like, yeah, and then complete in box for like 80, $70.
Mm,
Um, and then at cons and stuff, I usually see it at a few tables. It's not nearly as commonplace as the main stalwarts on the N64, but I usually see it. It's a black cartridge, so it's either going to be it's there's only a handful of games that are black
mhm,
cartridges on the
mm,
N64, and so it's pretty
nice.
easy to spot. And so I would say like if you have a pretty forgiving temperament and can appreciate that it's a almost 25-year-old video game, and you like first person shooters, and especially like each development studio has its own identity. Like you can tell you're playing a Rare game pretty quick, you can tell you're playing a Nintendo game pretty quick. you can tell when you're playing in the Claim game as well. And I think this is Iguana Studios, if I'm not mistaken, or Iguana Entertainment. It feels like that. It feels like Turok. And
Mhm.
so like if you like those games, it's really worth. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people said back then, but I also don't think it's like an amazing game or anything like that.
No.
But it's not one people
It-
talk about on the N64. So if
No.
you're like, oh, I want to try something new, I think you should fire it up. It's a good one.
So what would we give it for
I say,
rating?
what would it ratings? Yeah, rating out of 5.
A 5. What'd you give it, Mark?
Oh, I'd give it a really solid 3.5 out of 5. I
Okay.
Yeah. There's better games for sure, but there's many worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give it, yeah, probably a 3, I would say. I only played the first couple of levels, but
Yeah.
it's a solid 3. It's a solid game for sure. It just, like I said, some tweaks would really help it.
Yeah.
I'll go with Keith on that, a 3. I feel like if I had more time with it too, maybe a multiple rental, you'll get used to the controls and appreciate it a little bit better.
Nice.
Very cool. What did
Give
we
it.
got any just yeah,
You
call
gonna
me
you
out
gonna
again.
you
This is
gonna
just
you gonna
call
rate it
out
or not?
David night
You gonna rate it how much
tonight. I
you
love
saw?
it. I love it. I'm gonna give it from the gameplay I see, I'm gonna give it a 3. But
Perfect.
I'm telling you, it does look like a very cool game that if they did a remake of this, even if it's not the same title,
Mm.
I mean, killing big bugs and aliens and having that first person, even though I'm not a first person shooter, like it's a great concept and I love Starship Troopers, so I would probably give it a play.
We reached out to you guys to see what you said as well. We have a few comments, so we'll see what that says.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
Over on our YouTube page, we did a reel and we got a comment. Waves and games. I remember playing this at my friend Jason's house. I know we had a lot of fun, but was it a good game? I'll have to rent it again and find out. See if he rented it. And Matthew said, "Oh no, man, the controls in this game are such garbage, though, bro. They were so awkward, and it was a shame, really. If this game controlled a little better, it could have been great. I will give a level or 2 just to go participate, but I won't like it."
But you still played it.
But he still played it.
He still played it.
That's
And
awesome.
one from, I think we have Instagram, yeah, as well on our Instagram reel. Mort is stoked, so that's awesome. And then Ty's Gaming said, "Played this for a few hours, and I can honestly say I don't miss tank controls. I emulated this game and had a hard time with the controls, both as tank and inverted. However, getting past that, this game seemed like a lot of fun. It reminded me a lot of Earth Defense Force. If there was a better way to handle the controls, I think I would invest more time into this game." That kind of sums it up. Yeah, I said I was trying I don't like when you hit down and it goes up, so I was trying to find
Yeah,
something to
yeah,
invert that, and there wasn't. So I'm like, all right, I'll get used to it. I
yeah.
was like, whatever.
Yeah, that threw me off too because I was expecting to be able to flip the controls like that and you couldn't. Just if they could tweak the controls a little bit, even GoldenEye controls where you're moving with the analog stick and the auto aim's kind of snapping it in and the C sticks are strafing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that could have done so much for the game, but
It was
absolutely.
nice emulating it because I actually changed it so I had, like, my arrow keys, which would be your Cs,
Hmm.
yeah,
as, like, moving around, and then I was just up and down and looking around with what would have been the joystick, right? So and it
that's
did make it a lot easier to kinda move and negotiate, I think, from what I
that's
could tell
awesome.
from playing it. Trying to play it the regular version.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. What do we got up for next week?
So guys, for next week, we're gonna play one of my favorite NES games, and that is River City Ransom on the Nintendo Entertainment System. So
Nice.
head down to the rental store and give it a play. It's a good one.
Give it a
I
play.
love Rob Lowe in that game. Look at that guy. Put the cover art up again. Look at him.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
Right there. It's 1000% who it is.
Yeah, that's Rob Lowe.
I will never look at that cover again the same.
He's fresh off the
Neither.
set of like The Outsiders. Is he in The Outsiders?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there he is. And they put him into River City.
Perfect.
Oh man, I'm never gonna look at it the same again now.
You're welcome, America and Canada.